The formula to luck is preparation plus opportunity plus bold action.
What do you say to someone who says, I hear you, but I just have bad luck?
Your results are your intentions. Let's just call it what it is. Like if you're not getting in shape, you're not going to the gym enough, or you're just like not working out the right way.
Or you're ordering pizza at midnight from Uber Eats.
Sounds very specific, Kat.
I pull from real life inspiration all the time.
Winners lose more than losers lose. The quicker you fail, the quicker you succeed. So if you're not losing, like you're not winning.
Do you say to the person who is currently feeling like they're losing a lot?
If I were to be like really blunt, divorce the story and marry the truth.
Have you ever questioned whether success really comes down to hard work or if some people are just luckier? What if luck isn't random at all? What if it's something you can create? Today's guest has spent her career testing that theory. At just 23, Nicole Perone broke into a male-dominated industry, and by 33, she was leading a $2 billion, that's billion with a B, mortgage team in Manhattan. Now she's the senior VP at the #1 retail mortgage company in the US. She's the CEO of a booming construction firm and the host of the Billion Dollar Banker podcast. Today, we're unpacking the science behind luck, the mindset that separates high performers from the rest, and why the most successful people lose more often than you think. Welcome to the podcast, Nicole. We're so excited to have you here today.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the intro. I try to keep the bio like to the point before you lose everybody.
Punchy. Yeah. Before they're like, okay, she's a badass. Okay, we get it.
That's how I'm going to make the bio from now on. Badass. Yeah. Like lots of luck, right? But no, I appreciate it. I love your show. I'm really excited to join and be here with you girls today. So thanks for having me.
So let's just dive right in. We know that most people either believe in luck or they don't. But you've gone a step further. You've actually tried to understand kind of scientifically what luck is. So what made you decide to begin to look at this differently?
Yeah, I was asked to do a keynote speech at a local chamber of commerce for their annual like women's event that they do every year. It was just their 4th annual. And they were like, hey, why don't you do this speech? And I was like, okay, well, I would be happy to, but I'm just like, I have no idea what I would want to talk about. And so I had to really start to think about what do I feel passionate about? What will resonate with everybody, right? Because I don't want to talk about mortgage lending up there or just sales or something that just couldn't help somebody like in multiple areas of their life. And I love this topic. I ended up landing on it because I felt like this applies to really like all areas of our lives. If we think about it, I've always been very focused on mindset and manifestation and affirming your beliefs and writing your goals down. And so this whole kind of concept of luck being a science, as I started to research it, I was like, wow, I think this is like really, if I thought back to the things in my life that really ended up working out for me, I've been applying this formula and I'm still applying it every day. And so it just took off from there. We did the keynote. It was really well received. And now I say I've been on like a podcast tour. I'm spreading luck to everybody as much as I can. And I keep sharing the story and the conversation always goes a little bit differently depending on the audience. But I hope your audience can get a lot out of it today and hopefully they'll leave a little bit luckier.
I'm sure they will. This is a topic that Kat and I are also interested in, but I don't think we normally use the word luck. I think when we talk about it, we talk about like manifesting or great energy,
Gratitude or, vision casting, writing down our goals. But I love that you name it as luck because that's something that everybody knows. So what would you say that people get wrong about it? Or maybe don't understand it? And how is how you approach it different?
The formula to luck is it's preparation plus opportunity plus bold action. And the more that you do those 3 things over and over again, the more luck you're going to create and harness in your life. So if we think about the steps you were just talking about, you being into manifestation and affirming and taking in information that's going to help you, right? That's all in the first bucket. That's in prep, right? That's your preparation. Like you got to get into that space first. That's why I don't like when people like kind of they poo-poo the whole motivational speaking and like they call it the woo-woo stuff. The reality is like that's part of getting prepared, is getting your mind in the right spot. You can know everything about your industry inside and out, but if your mind's not in the right spot, you're never going to take that next step, which is to put yourself in places where opportunity is going to come about. Not only to put yourself in them, but to just to be aware. If you have a negative mindset and you walk in somewhere like you're never going to see an opportunity if it's in front of you, right? It doesn't come with like flashing signals. It's not right in your face. Like you have to have the right mindset to feel like there's opportunity all around me. Good things are coming to me. As time's gone on, I've used the analogy with like even with dating. Like if you go out and you're single and you're saying, I'm never going to meet anyone. No one good ever comes here. When they do, they're taken. Like that's all you're going to get. Right. And so to some extent, that's manifesting. Right. But really, what it is it's preparing yourself to have the mindset to see opportunity when it does come. Because if you do have that perspective where you're like, hey, I know someone's going to be here. I'm going to meet someone. They're going to come. What's made for me is here for me. And you have that perspective, you'll see it. So it really starts with what you said. And then the last part is really that bold action part, which is a really important part. I'd say that's probably the part a lot of people will leave on the table. They'll be prepared, they'll see opportunities, but then they won't take action on them, right? So they'll meet that great person when they go out, or they'll see that job opportunity in front of them, or they'll have that great idea for a business and someone that they could do it with, but they never take that next step. And that next step is all about taking action. So that's I think that's one of the things that people leave on the table, especially when it comes to like when you're thinking about sales, which is an industry I'm in. Follow up is something a lot of people don't do. I had Eleonora Sugro on my podcast talking about she's a Netflix star, Selling the City. I don't know if you've watched the show, but she was talking about how like one of her friends was hating on her because they both met like this billionaire guy, and like ultimately she ended up following up with this guy and he became a client of hers, and so the other girl was like, "Well, I don't chase." And she's like, "It's not chasing. It's the fact that I was more prepared and I was more ready to go after that opportunity." So, it's a big part of it. Take action on the things that you see in front of you. Try not to delay and apply this formula. I think people could be way more lucky in their lives.
We love a three-part formula. Really simple, really straightforward. There's no tricks, there's no magic. It's just, it is what it is. And I'm almost curious, Nicole, because Candace and I have seen this in our coaching where people know exactly what they need to do, but there's something that holds them back. And with as important as mindset is for you, what do you think some of the reasons are people don't take action if they know what to do? What have you found that holds them back or used to hold you back before you became the billion-dollar banker by 33?
Yeah, I think that one of the things that holds them back, I mean, if it's not mindset, if they're not in the space where, there's not in the place where they could take action in their lives every day, then it's either the fear of being rejected, it's the fear of not being enough, like not deserving some of that opportunity. Like, what is that billionaire going to really want to talk to me? Like, I never even talked to somebody that was a billionaire, whatever that case may be. There's obviously like imposter syndrome. There's all these like psychological things. We do bold action as the last part of the formula because a lot of people also they just take action and like that's it. It's like you go to the gym like for a week and you're like, what's happening? I'm not in shape yet, right? Like, if you think back to a lot of the opportunities you had or the coaching that you do, it requires, a lot of follow up, but without taking things personal. I think sometimes you'll make that one action step and maybe it won't work out. Like you'll hear people say, like we're using the dating analogy, right? Like, well, I already tried doing that. All men are horrible. Like we'll just start generalizing, right? Like, oh, those people never answer. Every realtor has a mortgage person. Whatever your excuse is in your head, now you start to generalize everything. You just have to realize, like, you have to use failure as a kind of like a data point. Like, okay, I know statistically that I have to do 5 to 12 follow-ups with someone in order to be in the zone at goal of making a sale. So if I've only done it once or twice, it's just not enough. So it has to be bold action. It has to be the call, the email, the follow-up, the video, the DM, the creative way to loop around. Like, hey, I've been trying to, I've been trying to get this guy on my podcast, and now I met someone that knew him, and I'm like, you got to text him right now. Tell him like this is like my 10th time. I'm like, send a picture of him. It's telling me he needs to come on my show. And And since then, he still hasn't said anything. He's like, "Oh yeah, I want to go. I'll be in touch." And I've still followed up with him 3 times after. Like every time I go on Instagram, he's just gonna get a message from me. And I'm not insulted that he's not responding or that we haven't made it happen. I'm just this is part of the game. So you got to kind of like just understand what it takes and take action. That's the biggest advice I can give.
So, what does someone do to prepare themselves to be able to take that bold action?
Number one, right? You have to get in this space, whatever your business is, whatever you're trying to accomplish, you have to just lock in on doing the groundwork, right? Doing the things that are necessary to learn the skills, to have the tools, to get your mind wired the right way. That's step one. Step two is you need to be always aware and expecting opportunity around you to happen. We use this example in the keynote about how two girls, they walk into a coffee shop and one girl's sitting there with her head down, just drinking her coffee, scrolling on her phone. And the other girl's like very open. She's like kind of looking around. She's drinking her coffee, and she strikes a conversation with the person next to her. And this, after talking, this gentleman happened to own a company, and he was like, I think you'd be a great fit. Like, why don't you apply for the role? And it's just a perfect example of like being aware and like seeing what's happening, expecting things, or like just not, just being here. And so it starts with that second step. You got to just be open. You got to know that you got to be looking for the opportunity. Cause again, like it's not flashing signals in your face, like opportunity. It's sometimes it comes in a way that's a little bit more discreet. And so you have to be expecting it. And then you have to go out of your way to put yourself in environments where you think you're going to find opportunity. So in business, if that's networking events, if that's certain organizations that you join, if it's local communities or organizations, whatever it is, to get in those environments and be in them consistently, because there's going to be more opportunity than there naturally. And then the third step is like, don't do all that stuff and then not take action, because it's just a waste. It's just a waste of time, right? Now you do like it's literally you're losing money if you don't do that next step effectively. And so you got to do the follow up part. You got to do the bold action part, and not be scared of failure. We talk about so many stories about like, and you probably have heard them, but like J.K. Rowling, got declined by 12 publishers before the 13th accepted her, or maybe it was 13 declinations of the 14th. That story, like those stories go on and on. You look at Dyson, James Dyson, the bagless vacuum cleaner, who he like wanted to create this bagless vacuum cleaner. It took him, he failed like 5,000 times before he got it right. Thomas Edison with the light bulb. Like when you're determined and you really want to accomplish something, you just need to find the one way to do it, right? It's okay if you find 10,000 ways not to do it, but you only have to be right one time. And so you have to realize that anyone that's ever accomplished anything in their life has taken consistent, repetitive action and been okay with failing and accepted it and not taking it personal. So that last part, if you do take that bold action, don't take rejection or failure as something personal, and you just use it as a data point and keep moving. You're just going to rinse and repeat that cycle, and you will generate more luck in your life. More opportunity will come your way, and you'll start to see it and almost feel weird. You're like, how did that happen? People are reaching out to me now. Yeah. Like, am I manifest? Like, is this what manifesting is? I mean, we've all experienced it. Like all of a sudden something happens. You're like, wow, this is incredible. Yeah, I was just thinking about this, or I just wanted this to happen in my life.
It also seems like when you are taking action, you're creating momentum, and the momentum is the thing that continues to fuel even more opportunities in front of you. And that's the really exciting thing about even having conversations like this, right? Like we haven't really met prior to this conversation, but ultimately we know that having this conversation with you right now is going to lead to even more potential collaborations, opportunities. Like you have a whole network, we have a whole network, right? We're going to meet people because we're having this conversation that is meaningful and aligned. And that's part of it.
Right. We're in a place where we're creating more opportunity, right? When we could go do this over coffee or dinner or drinks, or we could do this and record it, and hopefully a few hundred or a few thousand people will hear it. That's just taking the same thing that we would been doing anyway and turning it into like more opportunity. And then we have to take action after that, right? So
Yes.
This reminds me, I have to share this story with you, Nicole, because Candace and I and Corinne, our producer who's on here with us, were at a conference last weekend in Vegas. And I was supposed to fly out 10 a.m. Saturday morning to go back home, and I was going to miss day 2 of the conference. And the night before, I found out who the mystery speaker was going to be, and it was somebody I wanted to see so badly. And I was like, ah, I wish I could still be here to see her. And then my flight gets delayed the next morning. So I end up showing up the conference. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I spoke this into existence because I felt in my gut. I was like, I've been following her for 4 years. Now I get to see her speak in person. I need to be there. Delayed 7 hours, made lemonade out of lemons. I get on the plane finally at 5:30 in the evening. I sit down. I realize the same person I was sitting next to Thursday evening is sitting next to me again because he was flying in and out from Philly to for a work event, Nike, actually, a Nike event. And I just looked up and I was like, he's like, "You're not sitting here." I was like, "I am." I was like, "What are the odds?" And so then we sat down, and while we were waiting to take off, we got to talking. Turns out he's a creative director for the Philadelphia 76ers and was there doing field development and like competitive research. And now I gave him my business card. I don't know what's going to come of it, but I just, instead of being on my phone on the plane, I looked up and realized I was like, I recognize that hat and let's have a conversation. It was so wild.
That reminds me of the analogy of like the two girls, like you could have been on that plane with your head down, like pissed off, but you're like, this hat, like everything kind of just ends up happening for a reason. If you think this just goes back to like mindset, if you think, okay, this is somehow happening for me, right? Like I wasn't supposed to be on that plane or I wasn't supposed to get there at that time. I'm supposed to be here for some reason. If you see it that way now, like you're aware of what was going on around you and you made the best of it. I love that story. And so many people like that are listening today can think about
Upset, pissed.
places in their
Yeah.
life where they're kind of getting like a little bit, they have a little bit of doubt, starting to build up, and they have this trepidation about moving forward on things. And hopefully like they'll see little examples like this, just the simplest one. Like you go away from Thomas Edison to James Dyson to J.K. Rowling to like just being on a plane and like looking around. And who knows what that'll come. Now it's the bold action time though. So what are you going to do now?
Yeah, Kat, what are you going to do?
Well, follow up. I'm going to follow up. We connected on Instagram,
Let's call him right now. Let's just call him right now.
right? All right, Tommy, we're calling you. Get ready.
I love it. So, along this same line of thought, we know that when it comes to social media, it's often the highlight reel. But can you take us back to a moment in your career when maybe everyone around thought it was like, oh, this is her lucky break, but you know that it wasn't actually just a random thing? You know that you created that luck. Like, can you tell us your perspective versus maybe the outsider's perspective?
Yeah, so I've been in the mortgage industry for almost 20 years. I started with a small firm with like one other guy, a couple people in the office, learned the ropes, and then at 25 I started with Wells Fargo. And I had big goals when I got there. I was young, I was kind of naive, which actually served me really well. Being naive in sales, like just like I don't even know what's happening, just yeah, I'm not jaded. I don't have any like bad, preconceived notions. I'm just like ready to like get the opportunity. But as time at one point, one of my mentors had said, like, you have to act like the next role you want to be. Like start at wearing that hat today. Don't wait till you're there to wear the hat. That was really good advice. And I started to take it. I wanted my peers to see me not just as a peer, because leadership was always something that I was interested in. And I used to look and say, like, one day I want to work in the city because I knew that was what all the great business was happening in the city. And I always said it like kind of jokingly, but not really. I was like, that's the goal. If I were to do anything here, I want to run a team in Manhattan. And so, after many years of being in New Jersey, predominantly with writing loans all over the country, an opportunity came up to apply for a management position. I felt prepared for the opportunity. I took bold action. I was looking for it, right? And I got rejected. First time I applied, I didn't get the job because there was someone else that was more prepared than me. And so I could have like taken that personal at the time and just kind of like put my head down, like, I guess this isn't for me. Like maybe I'll go do something else. Like I'm never going to be a manager. But I asked for feedback. I was like, what could I have done differently? What do you want to see of me moving forward for me to get that next opportunity? And when the next opportunity came, which was relatively quick after, which is really, I don't know what kind of luck that was. I was just like, it was just real luck, I guess. I didn't create it, but it happened. The opportunity was there and I went after it and I got the position. And so I was managing a 300 to $500 million team. I think I was 29 years old when I got the position. A lot of the team members were older than me. Not a really, like I said in the beginning in the intro, not a very female dominated industry, or commensurately wasn't, especially in leadership. And so I ran a team. We were very successful. We recruited, we grew, and then the opportunity came. I got a phone call one day. Hey, like, one of our New York offices is open, and I think you'd be a great fit. And so I was like, absolutely, no brainer. And the opportunity came, and I talked to my manager. I was very cordial about it, and I went after it, right? And it was a hard decision because it's a long commute. It's like hours, and I knew there was going to be sacrifice. I totally got that, but I was ready for it, and I was prepared. I had been managing. I got myself ready to manage. But I guess the long story short, I think if you just looked at me getting that position at 33, I think people could have made some assumptions. I'd probably be making assumptions if I say what I think they are, but I think that people looked at it like, oh, well, that's really lucky. We were at a time where diversity inclusion was huge, right? Within companies, there had never been another woman that led a team in Manhattan ever for this company, this big, like, progressive, diverse company. Like, you're the first woman, and so for women before me, like, were older than me, that were on my team, that was, like, actually way more important to them than I actually thought it would be. They were like, "We've never had a female leader. Like, I want to work for a woman." Like, because they come up when that wasn't even like possible for them, right? So I think getting that position and having that opportunity at such a young age as a woman, being a diverse team member I was ready for it. Like, I would have never gotten that call if I hadn't done everything else, right? And so, yes, diversity and inclusion, like, came about, and I think that became a focus, and it was an important focus. It should be. But I think, because if I wasn't prepared and I hadn't seek the opportunity, I still, even if you could say, like, yes, that highlighted the need for women and this and that, I still wouldn't have had that opportunity. So I think everybody, like, needs to understand, and they hear it a lot, like, but nobody got to where they are, like, easily. And a lot of people probably aren't even where you think they are, or they perceive, like, or they're trying to show you they are, with their cars and their this and their that, whatever they're trying to show off to you. I think ultimately, like, we just need to be real. Like, we all fail. We all have people that don't like it when to see us succeed. I think podcasts like these are, like, exciting ways to share these stories, and hopefully they resonate. Hopefully there's, like, a young girl in a company right now that wants to be a leader, and she's inspired by this message. But yeah, I think I try not to take that perspective too. Sometimes you could look at someone, you're like, how did they, like, how did they make all this happen? But
Mine is good for them. That's what I say. No matter what, and not in a mean way,
right.
like, no, literally good for them. Like, they got this opportunity, like, and they ran with it. Like, I love that for them. And sometimes people are like, "Oh, like, they get paid so much money and they barely do anything." Like, great. I love that for them. They worked so hard to get to a place where they could make so much money and barely do anything, because it's not barely doing anything, right? It's all of their experience that got them to this place, that gave them this opportunity. So can we go back and talk to that girl you were just talking to right now? The younger female who is listening to this, who is unsure of what's in store for her, knows that she wants to be in leadership. What is one thing you would encourage her to unlearn that will propel her forward?
What to unlearn? I think that one of the biggest and most important things in leadership for me is being a servant leader, being someone that, and when I say that, what I mean is, like, kind of understanding what everybody's style is and how you can really best support them and their business. And I found that being younger, being diverse in a more of a male dominated industry, when I took the position of, like, hey, I'm not your leader, where, like, I'm going to tell you what to do and you're going to do it. I'm your leader. We're like, how can I support you? What can I do to help you? What are you looking, kind of more like a coach or a mentor, someone kind of, like, gently guiding. Like, you're struggling with technology. Let's sit down and talk about it. Like, I can help you with that. You're struggling with putting your loans together. So I think doing that, recognizing, like, hey, the more I can be of help to others, the better. And I can take that perspective. You got to let go of ego when you're in leadership. It's got to, like, go out the door. Um, And yeah, yeah, which can be hard at times, but I think that's part of the servant thing. I would say it goes in that space. And let go of the fact that everybody has like something in the back of their mind, some kind of reason why they can't do something. They're too young, they're too old, their accent, their race, their ethnicity, their religion. Like everybody's like, oh well, I don't know if they're gonna work with me because I'm too old now. I've heard people say that. I'm too old now. I've heard people say I'm too young. I've heard people say like, oh, I feel like I'm kind of stuck in my segment of like my culture and like I don't know how to really break out of it if other people want to work with me. And so everyone has that like story they're telling yourself. They just have to like divorce the story, marry the truth, ask people for input, ask them what you could do to get ready for that next position, wear the hat today if that's what you want to do, and just continue believing in yourself and continue listening to podcasts like this that can help reinforce the things that you need to hear to get to where you want to go.
Okay, real quick, I'm just gonna leave, put this in a time capsule, and send it to my 12-year-old self, and we'll just see where I am 20 years later.
Yeah, conversations that you wish you heard. I wonder, so I have a background in teaching. I was an elementary school, middle school teacher for a long time. And I feel like I tuned out other conversations because I was so narrowly focused on being what I was at the time. And I wish I had more of these types of conversations when I was in my early 20s or teens, even. But I was so like tunnel vision and like, I want to, be a teacher because my life was changed by so many teachers. And I just didn't take in any other information. And I feel like now it's a different world where there's so much opportunity for young girls to take on so many different roles that I hope that conversations like this are getting to them and they're not like tunnel vision like I was for so long.
I think that's a good point. I do see people that they try to like shut out the noise. They're just like, I just want to shut out all the noise. I just want to like focus on what is going to serve me best, which is like, I don't want to hear about like the news and everything happening and like what else is out there, other opportunities. Like, I just want to be I want to focus because you could be easily distracted if you don't. But you do have to pick your head up every now and then and like and look around and figure out what else is out there. And I don't think everything like I think some time ago it was like, "Oh, do one thing," like where you're the jack of trades, all trades master of none, right? But now I think it's just so different. I think we're in a world where we have like we could get so much more done quicker, right? We have all this technology, we have AI assistants and AI dialers and I mean, the advantage that we have being the first generation to tap into a lot of this technology and leverage it and have our devices in our hands to get messages out to thousands of people. Just, jump into the world of being yourself, being authentic, getting your message out as quick as you can and pursuing your passions and realize like you don't just have to be one thing. Like you can be the teacher and like the person that has a jewelry store and makes jewelry or sells something online or whatever it is. I would encourage people to go after it. At best, it becomes something that like works and you make some money and you do what you love. And at worst, you learn. And learning is like the quicker you can learn and the quicker I guess at worst you fail. I call it learning. But if you fail, you learn. You're like, okay, well that didn't work, but maybe I'll have something else I want to do and you do it again. The quicker you fail, the quicker you succeed. And I always tell like my team, winners lose more than losers lose. And so if you're not losing, like you're not winning.
Bow down to that quote forever. I'm going to probably get that framed somewhere in my home office.
What do you say to someone who says, I hear you, but I just have bad luck?
Well, by answering like a salesperson, right? I'd say, yeah, I hear you. I hear you. What? Tell me more about how you have bad luck.
I don't know. Like there's this other chick on my team. She always gets the good leads. I never get good leads. I just feel like she doesn't even know as much as me. She's doing more business than me. Like I feel like every time someone talks to me, like I can't they're just bad leads basically.
If somebody said that to me, I would try to really discover, like peel back the onion and figure out what's going on. Why do they think they have bad luck? Because a lot of times, like I think that's just like imposter syndrome. Like you think somebody else has something else that you don't have and you're never going to be able to get it. And, a lot of people experience that with like social media. Oh my God, I can never be in shape like that. Like that person has all this money to do these things and I don't have that. Or, I'll never live somewhere like that. Like you just scroll and continue to like reinforce like comparison almost, right? Don't compare yourself to other people. Focus on what you're doing and what you can control. And of course, things happen, bad things happen in life. I'm not saying they don't exist, but what I'm saying is you can definitely create environments where you can get luckier, right? Like that person, we probably would have finished that conversation and she would have been like, well, I only really made 2 calls to each of them. And that's
Right.
okay, make
Yep.
8 and you'll be just lucky.
Increasing your opportunity for luck to
Right.
come
There's
your way.
something to fix there. I think you need to have, if you want to be successful, you need to have hypersensitive awareness. You don't have to beat yourself up. Like you could be good to yourself, but you do have to be aware of like what you need to do more of, less of, and you have to try to be as agile as possible in changing that quick. Like I'm the kind of person that would be next to that other person as an example of like a contrarian thought. I would be next to that other person thinking like trying to copy exactly what they were doing because they're doing something better than me. And I'm looking, I don't need to be the best. I just like, actually, matter of fact, if you can help me figure it out, I can just copycat what you've just done. That's even better for me. I'm like, perfect. I would be like knocking on that person's door, like, what are you doing? Like, how quick are you calling them? How do you follow up? Do you have any email templates to share with me? Yeah. Yeah. Like, be okay with being the person in the room that asks questions and tries to get information from the people that are doing the things that you want to do.
Yeah, being curious is definitely something that has helped me a ton in my business. And I'll tell you that as an introvert, being curious doesn't come naturally to me because I don't like it if people ask me too many questions personally. Like if you're asking me too many personal questions, I get uncomfortable. So then what I used to do is not ask people questions because I don't want them to be uncomfortable. But instead, I reframed to lead with curiosity. And then I get to have so many more great conversations, better relationships, all of that.
I think it's such a good point because a lot of people like sell the way they buy. And I've felt that way before where like, why is this person asking me so many questions? Like, was it an interrogation? I think it really depends how you ask the question, right? I think that's a big part. Like sometimes you could feel like someone's when they're asking you questions, you're like, do you even care? Or you're just asking me because you want to like get information. Like I don't, yeah, like this is doesn't feel like it something doesn't feel natural. When someone's like really inquisitive, oh, like, yeah, I've been to Philly before. Like, have you tried this place? Like build a little rapport in between each question and don't just like hit people with
Copy and adapt, right? Yeah.
right. There's an art to asking questions the right way. But I think that was really, really good to identify because conversely, a lot of people are like, I don't like when people follow up with me too much. I don't want to get more like, because they're like, that's like, they're bothering me. They're being pushy. And now you're like,
Mhm.
well, I don't want to do that because like, I'm not going to do that because I don't like it. I don't like it when people do it to me. So I'm not going to do it. You kind of have to like, whenever you're in sales, like you got to take yourself out of the buyer seat and you got to focus on the statistics and the reality of what it takes to make a sale and what it takes to create a relationship. And it does require follow up and you don't have to be pushy. Sales and pushy is not the same thing. Bad selling, being a bad salesperson is pushy. If you're a
Mhm.
good salesperson or woman or man, you will never be pushy because you're going to be consultative, you're going to be curious, you're not going to be pushing someone to make a decision that's for you. You're really trying to figure out if there is something that you can do to help. And if you feel like you're passionate about what you do, you want to follow up. If you believe in yourself, have the right mindset, yeah, you will like, man, this person needs to talk to me because I know I could help them. Like, I'm going to call them again. I'm going to text them. Like, be playful with it. I love the follow up where you ask somebody, like, hey, have you given up? Have you given up on like moving forward with this project? And they say, like, no one wants to like give up. So they're like, no, no. Like, finally, you hear back from, no, no, I'm not a quitter. There's a follow-up tip, but yeah, that's interesting that you shared that because I've felt that
Yeah.
before too.
It's not speed dating, okay? Romance, a little bit of romance here.
So if winners lose more than losers lose, what do you say to the person who is currently feeling like they're losing a lot and maybe feeling like they're falling off?
Yeah, I'd say like if I were to be like really blunt before you ask that question, where I'm supposed to be really blunt. Like you're either not doing enough, which of what you have to do, or you're not doing it well. Like that's it. That's the reality.
Again, remove the ego and look at it clinically, right? Like,
Yeah, like that's just the truth. Like let's just call it what it is. Like if you're not getting in shape, you're not going to the gym enough, or you're just like not working out the right way.
or you're ordering pizza at midnight from Uber Eats, which,
Sounds very specific, Kat.
I pull from real life inspiration all the time.
You know, I can ask myself this question all the time. Same. Yeah. Well, it's true. It's like, you know, you got to look at yourself back to hyper awareness. Okay. If I've been working out, I'm not losing weight. What's going on? Like, I'm either not doing enough or I'm not doing it right. Like, I need to increase my cardio. I need to decrease my calories. Like, that's the kind of perspective. Like, you have to be tough on yourself. Like, I went to one seminar one time that was like, and this is a tough one to like for people to understand sometimes, but like, your results are your intentions. It's like that simple. Your results are your intentions. The results you have in your life today are exactly what you want. It's exactly what you've intended. Now, I realize there are things that are like completely uncontrollable in our lives, like health and things like that. So those things would be out of the question. But the things that you can control in your life, if you have a result in it that you're saying you don't want, well, you're lying to yourself. You do. That is your intention. That is what you want.
So I have one more question till we get to before we get to not nice advice. Nicole, one thing Candace and I talk a lot about is that we were on traditional paths. Candace was a middle school history teacher. I was a pre-nursing student once upon a time, but then took a hard left turn. I dropped out of nursing school, moved cross country, launched my first company. It was very hard for my family to understand what I was doing. They still ask me questions of, okay, you have a conversation and you make money from it. I'm like, yes. And so, with the podcast and traveling and conferences. So for you, are you that first one in your family? Like, how does your family, how has that relationship evolved? Like, as you've grown and learned, I would just love an insight into that.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of times your family wants to like protect you, right? They're nervous. You know, when I got out of college, it was 2007. The job market was horrible. Like gas was through the roof. Like just money was like water, just disappeared. And I could not find a job. I was like, this is crazy. I just went to school. We just spent all this money on school, and here I am, like talking about jobs that were paying like just not enough for me to survive. And so I was like, this isn't what I want. I want to determine what I'm worth. I want to go out like I think I'm worth way more than whatever they're going to offer me. And that was like my own self-worth thing. And so I remember telling my mom, I'm like, well, I saw this ad in the paper. Like, this makes me sound old when I tell this story. Like I swear it was in the paper. Either that or now I'm just saying it because it sounds good in the newspaper. I opened the paper. There was an ad, and it was like $100,000, make $100,000 a year, come to this sales training. So I went to it. I had no idea what it was. I'm like, I'm just going to go. I want to make $100,000. I went, I did the training program. They hosted it at like a car dealership. I was like, okay, well, I guess this is just, I go so naive. I didn't even know why I was there. And at the end, they were like, hey, well, now that you went through this, like if you want a job here selling cars, you could sell cars. I'm like, I don't want to sell cars. But then you know what? Like maybe I'll try it out for a little bit until I could see what else is out there. And so I remember calling my mom. I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna sell cars. I got offered a job to sell cars." She's like, "You're gonna sell cars? Like you just got out of college? Like what are you gonna do?" Like I learned so much in the car business. It was a very short period of time, maybe like a year and a half, 2 years. And I learned everything not to do in sales because a lot of car salesmen just like really were not very good at selling, and they just really wanted to like make a sale. That's why people think people are pushy in sales because of bad salespeople. So I learned what not to do, and I excelled quickly in that role. But my mom, like, she looked back and she was like, just it's funny how I discouraged you at the time. So I got out of that position because the market crashed. And I was like, "Hey, mom, I have this opportunity to get into the mortgage industry." She's like, "The mortgage industry, like everything was crashing." She's like, "What is all this cars and mortgages?" She's like, "I thought you were gonna get like a nice secure job with like a 401k and a salary." And so she was like, "I don't know, Nicole, like this is a lot." And so now we joke around. It's funny. I have very supportive parents. They've always encouraged me, but like they've also protected me. And in those moments, I think back now to how like good thing I still believed in myself, and I wasn't like, yeah, mom, maybe you're right. I'm gonna go like work at the post office so I could get union benefits or something. So I would just say that like people around you, sometimes it's better to not share your ideas with people because you don't want to get discouraged because it is very easy for them to like it's something to just live in the back of your head. Like when I started New Jersey construction, my stepdad said, partnerships never work. And I was like, that was a pretty shitty thing to say. And I'm like, you know what? I shouldn't even really talk to him about my business. Like, well, I don't want his advice. I didn't ask for it. I don't like when people give their opinion and you didn't ask for it, but he gave it. And so in the back of my head, like it still lives there a little bit at times. I'm like, maybe he's right. Maybe partnerships are tough, you know? But I'm like, at the end of the day, I think like my mom will say to me now, actually, good thing you never listened to me because I excelled in all the positions I had. I grew professionally, I grew personally. I knew that I had more in me than just like waiting to climb that corporate ladder. And yeah, some of these concepts are foreign, like having a podcast and making money and doing speaking engagements and making money. Like we're just in a different world. We're in a different world than our parents were. I mean, people don't take the same job and stay there for 20 years anymore. They know everybody move every 3 years and make more money. Like that's just the reality. I'm going to move more. They know they
Legit my strategy
is
every
it.
2 years. I just moved to a new well, San Francisco to Portland to Miami to DC to Philly. So it's, the vibe.
There you go. That's awesome. You've almost every city. You know what? It's like talk about environment. It's like there's nothing better just being in this environment where everyone's charged up, everyone's going after it. They say there's an actual like physical feeling you get when you're in like a city, New York specifically. I don't.
Oh, the energy.
Yeah,
I wake up without an alarm clock when I'm in the city. Candace is naturally gifted.
But I can't sleep in the city. Yeah, at home, I go to bed by 10. In the city, I'm up and don't even know what time it is. So, Nicole, let's talk about your podcast. So, what made you want to start the Billion Dollar Banker? And then what can our audience expect to see if they listen to your podcast?
I think so. Very simply put, for me, it's like no matter what you're doing in business, like you just got to be ready to make a change, to change. Like next change is already here. AI. Get your AI avatar, get your AI assistant, right? Get answering your email. Like it's here. People are using it. It's already here. Now we can wait a year and like watch everybody else use it and then decide to do it. Or we could just be like, change is here. I have to pause. I have to learn. I have to work on my business and I have to implement this, right? And so it's the same thing when you think about like people today, if you're coaching people, they're like, I know I need to do video, but I haven't done it yet because, I don't know, like all this stuff in their way, right? Well, now like we're three renditions away from that now. Like we got podcasts, 1 billion people a day listen to podcasts. Somebody posted recently, like, you get like down, you're like, man, I only got like 300 views on that post. But like somebody did, I forget the guy's name. He was like, this is what like a room of 300 people looks like. And it's like him with 300 people. And then the next slide, you're like, oh man, I only got 500 views. Like this is him with 500 people behind him. Like you think about the fact that you have the attention of that many people. So it's just like something's just got to look at it, whether you like it or not. You got to figure out how it's going to fit for you. And so for me, I've always been passionate about leadership, coaching, development, mindset. I've always been curious, just like you, about wanting to learn from other people. I think OPE, other people's experience, is the best way to learn anything. So if you can, well, you could be like the front row student with somebody like learning from them. Why wouldn't you want to be? I've had people on the show that have started incredible companies, achieved amazing success. Look at like Eleanor Sugro, like worth $14 million. Like we're the same age. Like we've been doing it the same amount of time. Like I'm like so inspired to be like sitting with someone, having them talk about that, and then like kind of unwinding and peeling back the onion and showing people like this isn't just someone that got lucky and ended up on TV. This is someone that really like sacrificed all of her 20s, like didn't go out, didn't date, didn't see people. And that story, by the way, I'm using her as an example because she's probably the most well-known guest I've had. But ultimately, that's the same story for everybody. It's the same exact thing. It's sacrifice. It's late nights. It's early mornings. It's disappointment. It's going, when you open New Jersey construction, it's not like, oh, the money just starts coming in, right? You have to build the business. Right? So that takes time. You have to have patience. So I just think that you gotta be in that space for yourself where you're just willing to accept what's available for you, go after what you're looking to do, make the sacrifices that are necessary and just get involved and get out there. And you gotta like sometimes you have to commit first and figure things out later because you'll stay in this space where you're just like someone on my show the other day said you're just dancing. Like you're just kind of like dancing, like should I, shouldn't I, should I, right? And just like do
Just
it.
go.
And
Like, you just
so
wanna, like, shake them by the shoulders. It's like, the story ends the same way for all of us. Like, just do it already.
true. It's very hard when you can't help someone like shift that.
And then you have to be quiet and then, like, ask questions so they arrive at their own conclusion because you know as a coach that that is more impactful.
You're like, I know the answer already.
Yes.
But no, it's hard. It's hard. But yeah, I would say like anyone that wants to hear and learn from other professionals that are doing amazing things, that's what our podcast is all about. And it'll keep evolving, but our mission is really just to help other people and spread awareness of like how to get after it in your life, whatever in whatever facet it may be. The next episode coming out is all about AI. So if anyone's interested in listening next Thursday, it's gonna be a good one.
We'll definitely drop the link to the podcast in the show notes so you can check it out there. Make sure you subscribe. Um, what you were telling me right now made me think about Cody Sanchez because Kat and I got to see her on stage the other day, and she said to have the level of success that she has or that other people have that you admire, you have to work harder than you ever thought you could for longer than you ever thought you could. If you do those two things, you'll get there.
Shit, that sounds like depressing. No, I'm just kidding. Oh my gosh, I gotta do this longer.
But you're right. It's like it is. People don't like to think it's about discipline or sacrifice, but it is.
No, I mean, and Cody Sanchez, she's got a great podcast too. I mean, it's incredible. I was on a podcast the other day where we had been doing podcasting for the same amount of time, and he had recorded like 230 episodes in 2 years. Like that's a lot, right? I think I've done like 50 or something. I'm like, that's insane. Like, do you not do anything else besides podcasts? But he was like, yeah, but he's achieved so much. So my point is like the quicker you can increase the propensity at which you're like putting that output, the better, right? And so try your best not to delay. Like I think it's more important than ever. Like we move and we take action.
Candace, do you want to read the not nice advice?
Okay. Why do I constantly feel behind even when I'm hitting my goals? I know I shouldn't compare, but scrolling makes it hard not to. It feels like everyone around me is further along, even people who started at the same time as me. How do I quiet the voice that says you should be further by now? Sincerely, productive on paper, but feeling behind.
Wow. So that's a real person that actually submitted that?
Real person. And it's exactly what we were just kind of talking about. So that's crazy.
That's cool. Well, I think first, because you read it like really sweet, so I feel like she's a little sad. I feel like first thing I would say is like be kind to yourself. There's no one that you're out there today admiring or aspiring to be like that hasn't fell victim to vices, that hasn't hit the snooze button, that hasn't been lazy, that hasn't struggled with something, or that hasn't felt exactly the way that you're feeling. So start there where like you're not alone. I think forever we will all vacillate with that feeling from time to time. Like, am I doing enough? Like someone's, I just kind of gave a couple examples, right? Of the guy with podcasting that like, and then Eleonora, like I mean, they're moving so much faster, but like, it's funny. You'll play like board games sometimes. Like you could be ahead in the board game, right? And like, I'm going to win. I got this. Like bingo, whatever it is. Right. But honestly, what matters is like the long game, right? Because you could catch up. Like we were playing a game last night with the kids and like, it was the same thing. Like everyone would think they would win. It was like, nah, the person that was all the way in the back ended up winning the game. So it's not about like how quick you get somewhere. It's just about actually enjoying the process as you're going through it as best as you can. And instead of comparing yourself to somebody else, feeling as if like maybe there's something that they have that you don't, that's not true. That's just a story. That's not true at all. But try to glean inspiration from them, get insight. So whoever those people are, ask for their advice. Ask for their advice. And I guarantee you what you'll find is like, oh, I knew that. Or like, oh, I'm doing that already. Right. So like dig in, pull the cover back a little bit, look behind the curtain, and you'll find like, you could do anything anybody else is doing today if you really want to. And then the question is like, do you want to? You might not want to. Like it might look great to have a six pack, but like that looking great and like that would be cool if I had it is very different than like I have to have one, right? Because it requires a lot of sacrifice to get one. Unless you're Drake, then you could just have it like painted on.
Yeah, I like potato
But
chips too much and soda. I could never.
yeah,
I'm just not going to have
so like
abs. That's fine. That's fine.
it looks nice, but yeah, I'm not going to get mad like that I don't have them and someone else does. So I just say like, you're not alone. Like keep the faith, keep, sending questions like this is like the perfect place that you should be spending your time and continue listening and And yeah, I hope that helped. But it's hard not to fall into that cycle sometimes. You gotta remember. Like I just listened to a book. I don't know if you guys have ever listened to it. Discipline is Destiny with by Ryan Holiday.
Yes.
What was it really?
So good.
Yeah,
The
yeah. Like a
stoicism.
lot of
Yes.
storytelling, a lot of
Mhm.
examples. I try to remember some of them when I come on podcasts. It's hard to remember them all, but like every chapter is another story about like a lesson. And it's where I got the what we were just talking about. One of the ideas that I just talked about, I got from that book. It's a great book. Maybe check it out. That's another input I have for you. Yeah.
Thank you. This has been such an insightful conversation. Really, really appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us on Not Nice, Clever.
Remember to follow our podcast wherever you listen to audio.
And head to www.notniceclever.com to connect for more.
Drop a question, we'll shoot you an answer. We're not gatekeepers here.
Signing off, you're not so nice, but oh so clever besties that mean business.
See you next week.